Hey soldiers, it's 2023 and I'm going to tell you something. Having a job is making a lot of people poorer, okay? You are actually running backwards on a hamster wheel in most cases if you have a job. I'm going to share the data with you. Now look, let me start this by saying I am not trying to be insulting, okay? I have worked many a job and, I had fun working a lot of them, all right? But the calculus has changed, or has it? The calculus, we're going to go over it. I'm going to show you why. Every day you show up at work and that's your only source of income, you're running backwards on the hamster wheel. You're putting yourself in a very detrimental financial situation as time goes on. Again, this is not an insult. This is a note of caution. I want to bring you some solutions. One of the soldiers actually sent me a note in the comments saying, hey, look, I get it. I'm just looking for some suggestions on what I can do to create multiple streams of income. We talked about this before. And again, for some reason, these videos, when I talk about gold and multiple streams of income, they don't get a lot of traction. I don't care. This channel can stay at, what are we, around 4,000? It can stay here, okay, for all I care. I'll talk to the people who listen because it's more important to put important messages out there than it is to, stroke the algorithm. I want people to find this information and be able to work with it, even if it's not ever going to, be a million subscribers. That's absolutely fine with me. But maybe we can get one or two. So one or two more. So go ahead, hit subscribe. Enlist, become a soldier of finance. And the way you do that, simply hit subscribe. Let me know you did so in the comments. I will salute you. I need you to hit the thumbs up because this one is definitely one you're going to want other people to see, because I know that you don't want people to be sitting in a situation where they're working a job and they're thinking, oh, I'm doing something. And all the while, these numbers are working against them, okay? And guess when they're going to find out? Probably 5 years before they are scheduled to retire, okay? And then in many cases, it might be too late. All right, so hit that thumbs up. Let the algorithm know, hey, I vote for this to be sent out to a wider audience. All right, so let me give you some data here. We all know, and this is what prompted me to record this video, we all know that the US dollar has lost a tremendous amount of value. So since 1933, the greenback, the dollar, our precious little note, Federal Reserve note, has lost 92% of its domestic purchasing power. So if I tore this into 10 pieces, all right, roughly one of those pieces roughly would be what the visual representation of the value of this thing would be after it's lost 92% over, the course of the decade since 1933. So look, you're working. Your employer's not paying you in real estate. They're not paying you in gold. They're paying you in these, okay? The electronic version, because you probably had direct deposit. So you're working for something that's worth a hell of a whole lot less in terms of its value than it was, when you started working, whenever that was, even if it was 2 years ago. Now, I know some people are going to say, hey, Tyrone, wait a minute, buddy. You've got to admit that this situation, while it may exist, I get raises at my job. And, I have, consistently gotten those raises. So, yeah, I get it. You definitely have. And the average wage increase, let's say over the past 10 years, has been 31.2%. So you're probably like, there you go, Tyrone. See, I made 31.2% more. Okay, in the last 10 years. So I'm good. No, actually, you are not. So here's the problem with that. In the last 10 years, inflation has eaten up that increase. So you've gotten paid a whopping 38.4%. You've gotten paid 31.2% more. But price increases alone are up 38.4%. So even if you just look at it from that standpoint, just the raises, okay, in comparison to price increases. You're about 7% underwater, all right? But we can't stop there. We got to take another look at it and understand what inflation has done to this number. Now, when you account for inflation, then it becomes a whole different ball game, because then average pay fell by 4.5%. All right. So either way you slice it, you're underwater. You're underwater if you're working a job, because your wages have not kept up with the loss in value of the dollar thanks to inflation. So you might feel, I was talking to somebody who was like, so-and-so's making $100,000 and they're so young. Well, yeah, okay, they're making $100,000. The reason they're making $100,000 is because $100,000 is worth a lot less than it was, 20 years ago. So when I got my first management position in Verizon, this is how green I was, okay? I had been working for the company for about 2 years, and then I got promoted into the management ranks, okay? And the guy that I was working for at the time, he was a weird guy. But anyway, he brought me into his office, and I didn't know that we would be negotiating my salary, okay? And he conducted this like, I don't know, like we were in the mob or something, and he wrote down this figure on a piece of paper, and he slid it over to me, and he said, look at that figure and tell me what you think about it. And it said $50,000. And I looked at it and said, I'll take it. Okay. And look, guys, I was broke. I was just trying to make my way in the world. This is the most money I've ever seen in my life in terms of me being paid that, So I said, I'll take it. Okay. And he said, oh, okay. Later, I learned from a friend of mine who was also in the management ranks. He said, hey, you were supposed to negotiate. He could have done better than that. He was waiting for you to, go back and forth. So I didn't, but I was making $50,000. Okay. And at that time, $50,000, oh man, that was a magic number. That was like 100,000 now. If I'm making $50,000. You could really puff your chest out back. And this was 1994. Okay. $50,000 is just a little bit north of the average salary these days. So you're underwater. Okay. You're underwater. All right. Your wages have not kept up with inflation. You're going to have to figure out a way to make some more money. And the way to do that is by having multiple streams of income. Your job can certainly be one of those. All right. But also keep in mind that your job is not promised you. That's a company saying, hey, we'll get into a relationship for as long as we need you, where you will give us your time and we will pay you discounted dollars. Okay. And we'll do this thing where we hit you off every 2 weeks with some money. Uncle Sam, he'll get paid first. And, that's the way we'll do it. Okay, fine. Okay. We've got to have people that work, because a lot of people say, you know what, I want to work because I don't want to be in a situation where I am taking on all of the risk of owning a business. Fine, I get it. But I would suggest to those people that you figure out a way to diversify your income. Now, let's talk about that. How does that look? Well, there are several things you can do, especially in this economy at this time. Look, I hate to sound trite, but you could start a YouTube channel. This is a teeny tiny channel, but guess what? It pays, okay? There's some income flowing in, so it does pay. And I would imagine that what this channel kicks off right now in income will make a hell of a difference to a family of 4 who's trying to afford groceries, okay? I don't have any kids. My wife and I don't have any kids. It's just us and a cat and a dog, okay? But I do know that what this channel kicks off, and here's another thing. Don't take this channel as your barometer of success on YouTube. First of all, I'm in a genre that is, I don't want to say it's not popular, but usually masses don't want to talk finances, okay? So you might have something like cooking channels do very well. Oh, I access those all the time. Maybe you know how to fix cars and you can tell people how to do that. I will say this, the secret to success on YouTube is consistency. So whatever schedule you come up with, keep it, Okay, make sure you can keep it. Okay, and the fact that I don't have kids gives me the ability to crank out 2 videos a day. We promise you 1 each weekday, but the news moves so fast I feel compelled to crank out 2. What are some other things that you can get into to create a separate income while keeping your job? You can get into the financial services industry. I've talked about this many, many times. Now, I'm going to be clear with you. The financial services industry is one in which you need to be a salesperson, okay? Because that's what we do here. We market products, and in our business, for example, what we want to do is show people how to pay your taxes now so that when we believe taxes are higher in the future, you will have a bucket of money that has already had that done. You've already had that tax paid. So essentially, what we're setting up is an alternative to traditional banking that includes 3 very key tax incentives: being able to grow your money tax-free, access it tax-free, and create generational wealth with it tax-free. Goes to your heirs tax-free. Okay, that's our speciality here at Money Changes Everything. MCEnow.com, that's our website. And we used to call the channel Money Changes Everything, but Cyndi Lauper, her song is just way too big. We didn't get any recognition. When we changed it to Soldiers of Finance, we started getting real traction. So the name of the business, MCE FinTech, that's what we specialize in. So we sell, okay? Bill Gates is a salesman, all right? Warren Buffett is a salesman. What's his name? Bezos is a salesman, all right? Salespeople make a lot of money. So that's one alternative. And you could get licensed. There are several different licenses that you could hold in the financial services industry. And you could prosecute a business that kicks off additional income. If you like this industry, if you like talking about this kind of stuff, and if you have questions about it, just hit us up at the mcenow.com. There's a space where you can leave your information and a question. We'll be happy to answer all your questions about that. So those are 2 things. Take advantage of the technology. And it doesn't have to be YouTube. It can be like some people have phenomenal success on Instagram, okay? Use that technology. There are things that you are good at, things that you have as a hobby. And let me caution you on this. Do not approach anything that you're thinking of with this mindset. Oh, I've got to be an expert. Look, I don't know if you've ever had surgery, but if you've ever had your appendix taken out or a tonsillectomy or any serious medical procedure, guess what? The surgeon that did that was not an expert. In fact, they would tell you they are practicing medicine, okay? If you've ever had an attorney represent you for anything, okay, that attorney was not an expert. That attorney will tell you, oh yeah, I'm practicing law. I'm not an expert at it. I'm practicing law. I might be better than that guy, but I don't know it all because it's always changing. So never wait until, I'm going to wait until I have all the information. You'll never have all the information. So just jump out there and do it, okay? Make sure you implement. That is the key, and you'll learn as you go, all right? We've been in business for over 20 years now, so we've learned a great deal, okay? And we are better at it today than we were when we first started. It's a natural progression, right? All right, so those are 2 things you can do. Use the technology. Figure out licenses you can get to market services. We did a video a long time ago on this lady who created a business on this thing called Poshmark, where she was selling clothing and different things. She did so well that her husband, he ended up leaving his job, and now they're in the business together. Okay, so he said, look, my time would be better spent. We can make more money per hour than I'm making on this job if I come in to this business with my wife. I will try to find that video. If you search by Poshmark, you might be able to find it. It's way down there in the stack we did a long time ago. But it's out there, okay? So you have got to, unless you're comfortable with content, because look, it's not going to reverse. The situation is not going to reverse. It's going to continue to move in the direction of your labor becoming more and more out of step with the dollars you're being paid because of inflation. Okay. So what's going to happen is you're going to realize that you are working as hard or harder, and the money you're being paid is worth less and less. That's the equation for a job. The other thing with a business is this. You take either example I gave you, Poshmark. That lady can say, hey, I'm going to step up my business and start to offer more goods, different types of goods. She can increase her income. If you are in the financial services business, you could say, I'm going to expand to a different set of states, a different region of the country. I'm going to start to build a business where I have financial representatives working in my organization. Increase your income. You can say, I'm going to record more videos. I'm going to post more and different exciting content on Instagram or what have you. And in that way, you can increase your income. You can fight inflation like that. Okay? You can't do that on a job. And if you don't believe me, I want you to tomorrow walk into your boss's office. Just set an appointment with him or her and say, hey, I want to talk to you about a raise. I'm going to need at least 5% to keep me, in line with, I want to tread water. I'm drowning right now based on the value of the dollar and inflation. I want to tread water. And if you're really ambitious, you could say, hey, I want a 10% raise, because that will put me in a position where my head's above water and I can finally start to see something of value from this job in terms of the money I'm making. I've got to beat inflation, boss. Explain that to them and see how they feel about it. Okay, see what they have to say about it. You've got to be very careful about what's going on with your money, because we are in some really strange times here with regard to how money is working. Now, one of the things that I want you to pay close attention to is your relationship with a bank. I told you about how in our business we set up alternatives to traditional banking, alternatives that can pay you better and give you 3 very key tax benefits. I want you to pay attention to what's going on in the banking industry. Look at this video. We're talking about PacWest. Will it be the next bank to fail? Well, it's exhibiting the characteristics of banks that have failed. Check out the video. And guys, I will talk to you soon.